Well, let's go back to the studio. You'll join me in a few minutes for the trophy lift, but let's hear the thoughts of Steph, Michael and Shaun in the company of Natalie.
We did it! We did it! We have won the Super Cup. We have a new trophy to add to our gleaming and beautiful collection that is growing and growing and growing. How is your heart rate, everybody? Take a deep breath. Oof! Was nervous at the end there, but all 5 of City's penalty takers scoring. Absolutely fantastic. Still joined by Michael Brown, Steph Houghton and Shaun Goater. You had a looking through your eyes there at the end, and of course your good friend Kyle Walker taking the last one. How were you feeling?
Well, I was I'm thinking, oh no, surely he's not taking number 5. And I think I've never seen someone take a penalty and aim for underneath the goalkeeper's arm. I think that's what he must have tried to do, but he got lucky, didn't he? But so great celebrations at the end. They deserved to win, more than done enough in the second half. It was a great performance, great goal from Cole Palmer, another trophy. It breeds success, and just look at those celebrations. Fantastic, another trophy.
Love the celebrations at the end there. Their faces, Steph, it means a lot to them.
Yeah, it does, and I think the second half performance especially, they deserve that trophy. We thought they were going to nick one at the end of the 90 minutes, but look, to go and win in a penalty shootout kind of just breeds confidence for the rest of the season, hopefully.
Absolutely, yes. Shaun, you enjoyed that second half?
Yes, I did. We kept control. We kept pushing. It wasn't to be in terms of getting that second goal, but, it took us going to penalties. And I think this is good because it shows we've got the mental in terms of we get pushed to penalties. We've got these players that can step up and put them away. So trusted the process. We were having a bit of a laugh.
Was that a bit of cramp in the celebrations there as you jumped off? He was jumping up,
he was
locking up.
He was, but well, listen, we're all pleased for him. Some really good pans, and I like the fact that, you're thinking of people like Rodri and some of the others who are regular but not involved today. So it's good that we got that depth in being able to want to take penalties and taking them.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we won on penalties there, Michael, but it was much deserved. The second half we were so much better, so many chances. And in particular, Cole Palmer really stood out in that second half.
Yeah, he did. He obviously tried to come in on that left-hand side and then occasionally chopping in, making forward runs onto the back post. I think that was the difference in the second half, which we expected more of that territory in and around the box where City lock you in, move it around, where really it was a bit further away from the goal. They couldn't get as close, but yeah, you can see the forward runs were better, the movement was much better into the second half, and really just that advantage sort of really put the pressure on. I thought it was going to come earlier. We were saying, Shaun, weren't we? You felt like the goal would have come before obviously the penalty shootout. Yeah,
really pleased for Cole Palmer because, again, he has the ability, scoring now in this game, scoring in big games now when he's called upon. But again, he's another smooth player out wide in terms of how he sort of cuts back and then gets it on his left foot and delivers beautiful balls. There, he's kept his eye on. He's kept his eye on when it came to the goal. See all the celebrations. Pep's an absolute genius. Another one. But the players had to step up. It was one of those where Pep, as the manager's on his side, and he's just like, well, I need you all to go and score your penalties and we could win this one, because it really came right down to that.
Look at all them Blues as well that have travelled out there to Greece. They deserve that. Look at them all. They're going to have a serious party tonight. The second half performance, Steph, I thought it was much improved from the first. As the game went on, we seemed to more grow back into ourselves almost.
Yeah, I think we got rhythm quite early on in the second half, and I think Sevilla wanted to kind of make it compact and difficult, but I think we did use the likes of Cole Palmer and we used Jack Grealish really, really well, and we got them crosses in behind the back four, and Cole's header was unbelievable. I think none of us really expected him to head it back across, but it was a great finish.
He guided it really well, didn't
he?
That's a really good header when he's under that pressure with the guy, coming late into the back post, and you wouldn't put Cole Palmer to have that sort of finish.
You're probably thinking Haaland was going to try and get it, but he obviously moves out the way at the last second, and Kyle coming around the back. But I think, totally dominant. I don't think Edison had maybe one or two crucial saves, probably at the beginning of the second half, but ultimately City deserved that trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked in before the game as well about this being an opportunity for Cole Palmer. Could this be a chance for him to show that maybe he could fill Riyad Mahrez's shoes? Maybe he could start fighting for a regular place in the team. Did he do enough?
I don't just think it was his goal. I think he did impress, and later on in the second half, he actually turned, he pushed the line, he went through some legs, and he was into the box, just got caught up. But that type of run and that type of service and getting into those positions, having the confidence to go through people, will get better. Obviously, a couple of goals is going to help his confidence. We know the ability's there. I mean, it's better than any young player. We've seen it again with Phil Foden, and then we see Cole Palmer. He attracted everybody's attention straight away for how good he is on the ball, and it's great to see him getting a return. So hopefully he can make that position. You don't just sort of get it your own, but you can make it that you're going to be much more regular than he was last season.
Who else stood out for you today, Shaun?
Well, Rodri's somebody that always stands out. You know, he just, what he does, sitting in there, transitioning the ball and being able to come out with the ball one side. Also, when he sort of plays a little further up and he still receives it, retains possession. He makes it look so easy, but it's so difficult, the job that he does, but also breaking up plays, set pieces. It's one of our weapons when it comes to set pieces forward, because it's always him getting on the end of it or getting a touch along with Eki and one or two others. But Rodri, I'm always impressed with him. I think, you know, today we played a game, we got through on penalties. If anything, we'd say we'd like to have had Haaland a bit more in the game. But in saying that, sometimes it's like that. You know, you get other players that come and just pull us through and get us over the line.
It was certainly a bit tougher than perhaps some people had predicted, Michael. But in terms of the psychological effect for City for winning this, obviously we're straight back into the Premier League on Saturday. So having picked it up, having won the trophy, our first Super Cup, how is that going to impact, do you think, on our Premier League campaign?
I think that was the danger, wasn't it? You even heard, obviously, in commentary, everybody thinking, well, we've got Newcastle just around the corner. How do we react? How do we recover? But this is obviously an important trophy, and it just felt like it wasn't as important because the Premier League's just set off. But now, obviously, winning it and bringing it back and enjoying these moments just breeds that, as I say, success around the world with the football club. Champions League's done that. It's allowed this evening tonight. And I just feel the fear factor's there that nobody wants to play Manchester City. Newcastle will be thinking, right, it's gone all the way. We'll have an opportunity. But they'll rest well, and you'll use the squad. We've had obviously a bit of a hiccup with some of the players last few days or so, but I think that'd be really, really positive all the journey on the way back.
Yeah, definitely, because I know that obviously with the injury to Kevin De Bruyne, you've heard fans of other teams thinking that's a chink in our armour, maybe that's a way to get there. So, would you see this as just a reminder to everybody that yes, obviously not having Kevin De Bruyne is awful, but hey, we can still do it.
Just come through. I mean, you just look at the squad and the players. I don't think there's any disbelief or anywhere else that City can't do it. I think what it does, it highlights another player in Cole Palmer. I'm thinking, can he be a one? Obviously, Phil's Riyad Mahrez. So it was a tough night. I think, as Steph said, you're just getting going at the start of the season.
Yeah.
In a hot environment. It's not that simple when you've obviously played Burnley
and with Kevin De Bruyne missing, I think it does give somebody else a chance. And I think Pep always builds his squad so that if something does happen like that, I mean, we're talking about Kevin De Bruyne, who's one of the best players in the world, but ultimately it is a chance for a Cole Palmer, Bernardo Silva to maybe go back in the midfield, Phil Foden to have a chance in his probably favoured position. But I think we've seen enough positive actions from City tonight to say we've actually probably got enough to still compete for all the trophies this season again.
I was really pleased as well with the fact, obviously, that we lost the Community Shield only 10 days ago to a penalty shootout. So I'm really happy that we've managed to get rid of that and show that we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, there were 5 good pens, are we saying, or 4.5? I'll say 5, Kyle. I'll say 5.
4.
But look, I think when it is a bit of a lottery, and you kind of want your keeper to make a save. But look, I think you've got to be brave enough to take one, and thankfully it went our way this time.
So we do have our FG, Shaun Wright-Phillips and Nedum Onuoha. They are pitchside. I wonder if they've been involved in the celebrations. I bet if they haven't been, I bet we'll see them in the middle of it in just a second. But let's go over to them now and see what they thought of the win.
Of course we have, Nat. What an evening it turned out to be. Manchester City Super Cup winners for the first time. Shaun Wright-Phillips, Nedum Onuoha. Nedum, give me your thoughts.
Honestly, I'm so happy they've won and I'm so glad that's over. I didn't really fully enjoy that. But to give them credit, this wasn't their best day, but they carried on, they pressed on, they fought through it, and I'm sure there were some very nervous City fans like FG when the penalties were going on. But they did what they needed to do, and it's a great moment in the history of the football club.
It gives me back shades of when we were in the studio in Istanbul and me and Natalie were just nervous.
Oh, Natalie.
I can imagine what you were like watching the penalty shootout. I can imagine what everyone was like. My gosh, I was nervous. Shaun, you were calm and composed and you wanted a pen, didn't you?
I wouldn't say I wanted a pen, but yeah, just got to have belief. I think the penalties that were taken as well were all fantastic. Obviously, sometimes you get a bit lucky, but with like Carl Walker's, the power, he knew what he was doing. The power beats the keeper, and that's what you're always told. So for me, they stuck in there when they needed to, and they played when they needed to, and in the end, they got the result, and it was the result we all wanted.
I was going to say myself, like, you said he'll take a penalty. If everyone in this stadium had to take a penalty, I would be the last. That's how little I want to do that.
No, I would be the last.
No, I guarantee I'll push you to take one. I would be the last.
Who am I to argue with Nedum Onuoha? Right, let's talk about the game. Obviously, the first half, we'll keep that brief. Scored a good header, Sevilla. They were on top at most times, and it was a bit difficult for us, wasn't it?
I wouldn't necessarily say Sevilla were on top. I think City had a couple of opportunities. You know, there was a good header as well from Ake. But they did what they needed to do. It was a great ball into the box from Acuna, and then Nesri, that's a great header. I think you could maybe look at how you could defend it better. But like, it's a Super Cup. It's like a really good side. They're capable of scoring. But City, they didn't get their heads down, and they continue to push on.
And let's talk about Edison, Shaun. Well, saves, that was super important. Firstly, the saves at 1-0, and then we will go on to the one after the Palmer goal as well. But great performance from him.
Outstanding. That's what you want from a keeper. That's what you need. Like, the players trusted in him. He believed in himself, and the two saves that he pulled off were crazy. And it was what we needed at that specific time. And I think after he makes those saves, kind of gives us a little bit of lift and push us further on in the game.
And I've got to say, the key thing he said there is he believes in himself. You know, no matter how we as people from the outside feel about any particular player, these guys on the pitch, they know how good they are. They know they can step up in the biggest moments, and he certainly did. And that's two pretty significant European finals in a row. He's really stepped up.
He absolutely has stepped up. Another guy who stepped up is a man who scored again in another final. Man of the match here, Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
You've got to be so happy for him.
What a start to the year. This is, you know, you score a goal at Wembley in the Community Shield. Next thing, you score it in the Super... Sorry, these have been round.
Sorry, there was a bat there.
They're scared of bugs. Scared of bugs, locusts, whatever it is. But, you know, he must be pinching himself thinking like... Most people probably didn't expect him to be having an impact in two of those biggest games of the season so far. But it was a great header, and I thought he really grew into the game. And he got player of the match as well, which is a nice thing he's going to have on his shelf for the rest of his career, which isn't too bad.
And he absolutely deserved it, and he very much took his chance. It was nice to see, wasn't it, Shaun?
Yeah, it was lovely to see. It's always lovely to see, obviously, academy players break through. But when they're doing the stuff, what he did today, and like what she said in the Community Shield, it's amazing to see. And that wasn't an easy header. And the way it just loops in, and like Nedum said, he used the way the ball came in, and it curled back on itself. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to get out of here. We're going to survive the bugs for a little while and hopefully catch up with you soon. So let's head back to the studio.
FG getting attacked by bats after City have won the Super Cup. What a strange sentence. Thank you to the three of them for keeping us highly entertained this evening. The atmosphere there just seems absolutely brilliant. I love the idea that Nedum wants to be the last penalty taker. Where were you in the penalty taking succession, Shaun?
Well, in this occasion there, I'd be just ahead of Nedum.
Would you push FG, or were you in front of FG?
I got to be in front of FG.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to be in front of FG. But yeah, it takes a lot of nerve to want to step up, take a penalty. And this is what I'm saying, from the City squad, the depth of players that are wanting to take it and then going up and actually taking a penalty. For myself, going back to the Wembley days, I was the fifth penalty taker, but glad we've made some saves, so it wasn't a need for me.
Steph, how about you? Where are you in the penalty line?
My history of penalties is not really that great, but maybe fourth. I think I took one for City in League Cup final.
Okay.
Fourth, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more better players than me taking a penalty anyway, so I'll put them forward first.
But you step up.
Yeah,
that's
you
the
step
point.
up. Yeah,
Yes, you do. Brownie?
You've got to step up. I mean, I scored 6 in one season, and then playoff final to go to the Premier League with 3-0 down to Wolves, and I missed. So I've had that experience of both situations. I actually missed for Spurs as well. Hit the crossbar against Liverpool in the quarter-final of the Cup. So I've had the experiences of missing and taking them, but I've always stepped up and tried and give it a go. And some people just don't feel comfortable to do it. You still have that nervous tension in your legs whenever you're walking up there. And if whoever doesn't, well, hats off to them, because it's just a strange feeling walking up to that ball.
Do you practice penalties, like as a team, or is it something like you might just hang around after and do?
I think previously for England and like the national team, because a lot of the games do go to penalty shootouts and it's really important, the set pieces, I think you do tend to practice them a lot after training, but I think it's City, generally it's the people that are probably putting themselves forward for penalty shootouts. So kind of people take it on their own to do what they need to do after training.
Wasn't there a situation with England where after every training session they were trying to create an environment, because obviously tournament football, just to get them as used to it as they possibly can,
Yeah,
with crowd noise and like everything.
Yeah,
literally
Crowd
to try
noise,
and
walking from
create-
the halfway
Yeah.
line,
Oh,
trying
really?
to get up, like on one up on the other team, like where you would stand as a team. It goes down to such finer detail at the moment just because they're so important, but you just can't recreate that feeling of walking up when you've played maybe 90, 120 minutes. It's just like what Brownie said, your legs you just feel so different.
Yeah, in fact, Jolien said that on the show the other day, that he would never take a penalty, that he hated it. It was the walk up. What is it like when you're on the halfway line and you know that you're next and you're about to walk?
You just start your legs. I don't know what it is. It's something in your legs, and you just don't want to let anybody down. You don't want to miss. You don't, and that's just the situation. You're heading down to obviously to the spot. Goalkeeper's putting you off. You're trying to not take everything, or you're just trying to concentrate on that situation. But I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but like literally, you put the ball on the spot. And you're like thinking, does it roll slightly off? Is it in the right position? What's it like to the left-hand side for your other foot to actually plant? And then you step back, you wait. And I was thinking, right, if I look at the goalkeeper and I look that way, does the goalkeeper think, well, I'm definitely going to go into that corner? Do you try and give a false look? There's loads of psychological things. And if you've took a particular penalty before in one area, you know that they already know where that's going.
It really is that mental side of the game. Taking a penalty, and it really is that mental side for you. It's your mindset in terms of those who are really confident have that mindset, I will score. And, and they don't have that talk in their mind, which is, I hope I don't miss. It's a whole different conversation. And you could tell the ones who are so experienced at it, they step up and you just don't even doubt. Even if you look at a team and you go, I hope he misses. If it's against your team, you go, but you look and you just think, he's just confident. He's seasoned. He's a seasoned pro at scoring. Our penalty takers that are seasoned, you could see they're confident with theirs, being in those positions. So it's that whole conversation.
Was it Jose Mourinho saying about Harry Kane that he actually decides a couple of days earlier, and they obviously practice that particular penalty, and then just never changes? Yeah.
Oh.
So there's one for you. I mean, it's
thinking about the World Cup.
Well, you look, and it is tough, isn't it? Actually to think, and you've had a history of the penalties that straight away the iPads are out and they're literally saying, there's your last six, there's your trend, there's your run up, there's your change. So it's
the psychology of it is really, really interesting.
Yeah, goalkeepers, as Bruyne says, they have on their bottles of which way they're going, and that's why nowadays, penalty takers have got to really master going three places.
We could have a presenter penalty shootout.
Yeah, why not?
I think I'd beat FG.
Presenter,
Come on, me or FG? Who are you going for?
I'd be interested to see who you go.
I bet Els is good.
Els, well, let's have a go at it. Let's see. We should set it up. Be interesting, wouldn't it?
Like it. Can you get Chloe to give me some training?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Thank you. So City have, of course, won the Super Cup, our first Super Cup this evening. We'll be picking up the trophy very shortly. We'll show you that in just a few minutes. But then on Saturday, we are back down to earth in the Premier League as we go, of course, on our campaign to retain and be the first team to win it 4 in a row. We have Newcastle at home. Our first game back at the Etihad is going to be electric. The first time back at our stadium since we won the treble and now the Super Cup as well. Newcastle, of course, will be a formidable opponent. They had a huge opening day victory against Aston Villa, a really impressive performance from them. Of course, Champions League football for them this season as well. It's going to be a tough game on Saturday, Shaun.
Yes, Newcastle, they've gotten a lot of belief. They got a good manager. They got a belief in how they play. It will be a tough one, and we'll have to be at our best. So I think the recovery from this game in preparation for it, we have to get that right because it will be a really tough game for us.
They strengthened well in the summer as well. Harvey Barnes looked really impressive in that Villa game.
I mean, they have got a great squad. I think they've got a really good work ethic for certain. They've got a way that they play. a manager who's very, very strict, that you have to stick to his philosophy, his way of thinking. And I think in the recruitment's been difficult for them, because when they had such a wealthy owner, you're thinking they're going to go and sign superstars, huge players. Well, they've sort of gone just under the radar. The recruitment was very well early, that they just built up, and then they're adding players that are not necessarily Champions League players as yet, but they feel like they can go and strengthen again and just continue that journey, because that's the way the manager has to have it. He doesn't show emotion, whether it's up or down. He's quite very level-headed. But he's done an incredible job with them. When you think where they were in the Premier League to such a quick return, the key is they've had a wonderful start, but can that squad cope with what they're going to have to go through this season? That'll be the difference for them.
On Saturday, I feel like, Steph, we're going to be seeing the two best strikers in the league. And in that, obviously, I'm talking about Haaland. But Isaac looks phenomenal. It almost feels like a lot of teams in the league are missing an out-and-out striker, whereas with him and Newcastle, he looks dangerous this season.
He was good for fantasy football as well.
He was,
so,
yes.
Yeah. No, I think you're right in terms of what Newcastle have done. They're obviously trying to build a squad to compete in Champions League, and the likes of Harvey Barnes, I think Anthony Gordon played really, really well on Saturday, and you've got Isaac, but then you've got a striker like Callum Wilson on the bench. So in terms of that, Newcastle have got a lot of threat, and they did play well against Villa. I think everybody thought it would be a bit of more of a closer game. I know that injuries kind of halted Villa in terms of their rhythm and stuff, but I think Newcastle were impressive last season, and they'll be coming to the Etihad knowing that they're going to be playing the European champions, the Super Cup champions, and it'll be a tough game. So I'm actually really looking forward to watching it, because even though it is at the beginning of the season, I don't think it'll define the season no matter what the result is, but it'll be good to see where we're at as a team and against a very good Eddie Howe team.
And first home game since, of course, we've won all the trophies, Shaun. The atmosphere is going to be amazing.
As I say, it will be absolutely lit. Yes, I think it's going to be brilliant. It's going to be exciting. I'm intrigued with Newcastle in terms of he tends not to play those two as an attacking, Callum and Isaac, but that Isaac, I think, he catches the eye in terms of how he plays. He's really skillful, can receive the ball in tight areas in terms of his dribbling. But our defence will be up to it. I think it's really about our recovery, because I think Newcastle will be saying, listen, they've had this game, they got to travel, come back. Can we get at City really early?
But it's whether they're brave enough to go and do that. Do you know,
Very true.
It's full well City and lots of occasions want the teams to come out and actually say, right, come and have a go at us. That leaves the space, and that's maybe what they'll actually prefer.
Yeah.
They're also a really defensively strong team, and they conceded, they were one of the least number of goals conceded in the league last year. Obviously, we all know all about Trippier and the strong defence there. So two strong defensive teams, two strong attacking teams as well. What sort of game do you think we're going to be expecting?
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Defensively first, that's what Eddie Howe wants to build on. I think City will still dominate the possession as expected, but they have got a threat going forward. As you mentioned, Isak has come on so much. I think it's just a matter of time before he gets better and better, especially if the team are going to go on and actually perform and start winning games more comfortably. They were still on that journey, but then after a slight hiccup, they were thinking, could they finish Champions League? Where are they going to go? Then a drop-off, then a recovery. You do feel like they're the ones to watch if the squad can cope with it. So, listen, City are heavy favourites. I think it will be one of the toughest games because of this midweek game, because of the travel, because so early you've had to slot such a game like this in with that heat, with the intensity that to show in the second half. So, it's going to be a tough game.
So City take on Newcastle in the Premier League Saturday night, 8 p.m. kick-off. And, of course, Matchday Live will be here with you before from 5 to 7. And Kel will be back with you. And you're back, I think, Steph.
Yeah,
you're back
I'm
on
back,
Saturday.
yeah.
Steph is back on Saturday as well. Now, if you've perhaps, it's been sort of 9 or 10 long weeks, you've been, really missing seeing City lift a trophy. Well, hold on a minute, because here is another one for you to see us lift.
So we're getting used to this. What is it now? 4 trophies in 4 months? Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League, and now the UEFA Super Cup for the very first time in their history. The players going up to Alexander Ceferin, the head of UEFA, and it's becoming something that we're becoming very accustomed to. For the first time in City history, they won the UEFA Champions League. It gave them the right to take part in the UEFA Super Cup. And so for the very first time, they are about to lift that trophy as well. Kyle Walker has never captained City to a trophy before. He's about to do it now. And maybe that is why he took the responsibility of taking that 5th penalty, the one that has ultimately given the Blues the trophy. A 15th trophy, of course, for Pep Guardiola. 5 Premier Leagues, 2 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, 2 Community Shields, 1 UEFA Champions League, and now 1 UEFA Super Cup. That trophy list is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as Pep Guardiola gets his medal, puts it around his neck. Only one member of the City squad left to get his medal, Kyle Walker. He puts it round his neck. He gets the trophy from Alexander Ceferin, and he'll make his way over to the City players underneath a huge sign that says Winners UEFA Super Cup 2023. And so for the first time in City's history, they are the UEFA Super Cup winners. It's a year of firsts, a first ever treble, the FA Cup, the Premier League and the Champions League. Now they've got another trophy. We will never forget 2023, never ever in our history, because that trophy is just a culmination of what has been a spectacular calendar year. And remember, there is a 5th trophy in the offing in a few months' time, because as winners of the UEFA Champions League, the Blues will have the chance to win the FIFA World Club Cup in December in Saudi Arabia. What a 2023 it has already been. And of course we can throw in an opening day victory at Turf Moor in the Premier League as the Blues began the defence of that crown as well. Newcastle United await in 3 days' time at the Etihad Stadium. One can only imagine the atmosphere when the Blues enter the auditorium as champions of Europe, champions of England, and now UEFA Super Cup winners as well. The atmosphere is going to be breathtaking. There are so many heroes that we've waited to give thanks to. Of course, the homecoming in the pouring rain in June gave us the first opportunity. But on parade on Saturday evening, ahead of that Newcastle game, another trophy, the UEFA Super Cup. The Blues become the 25th team to win it, having won it this evening. Andy Morrison alongside me. You were alongside me in Istanbul. It's not quite the same emotion, but the fact that a new trophy is going to adorn the City cabinet means an awful lot.
It does, yeah. You just said it. It's another first. And it's a reflection of an incredibly successful year. You know, which culminates in tonight, and they should all be very, very proud. From a manager's point of view, I want the trophy to put away. I want to go and refuel on pasta. I want to get a load of water in this, get back, good night's sleep, and get ready for Saturday evening. But enjoy tonight, because you know, it meant a lot, and that's what really warmed me, was the reaction of the players. You know, it's another trophy, it's another first, and again a reflection of just where this club is now.
Yeah, Pep Guardiola won this UEFA Super Cup twice with Barcelona in 2009 and 2011, and once with Bayern Munich in 2013. He also won it as a player in 1992, and now he's enjoying the moment in front of the City fans here in Athens, over towards the right-hand goal where those penalties were all struck into the back of the net. Haaland made it 1-0, Alvarez, Kovacic, Grealish, and then Walker, an unlikely penalty scoring hero. I can't find anywhere a Kyle Walker penalty in his magnificent career. Maybe he knows of one, maybe he took one as a kid, I don't know. But there's no official record anywhere of Kyle Walker never taking a penalty, never mind scoring a penalty. And having tucked that penalty away, and then watch Goodell miss his. It was fitting, perhaps, that Kyle Walker lifted the trophy for the very first time. I suppose, Andy, it's worth making the point that with Ilkay Gundogan having moved on, that someone had to take over the captain's mantle. The fact that he took the responsibility, scored the penalty, and then lift the trophy is maybe fitting.
Yeah, fantastic, and he'll be very, very proud. And it doesn't matter what you've achieved in your career. You know, there's nights like tonight, you want to be a winner. You know, the experience that it would have been a low last week, losing to Arsenal. You don't want that to happen again. And yeah, I'm very pleased. And, you know, an acknowledgement there for the fans as well, because it's not easy supporting a successful club who are travelling now all over Europe, Wembley, consistently, you know, and you know, they got to take great credit because there's been a lot of noise there tonight and played a huge part in the occasion.
And it's much better to dig into your savings and make a trip over to Athens to see the Blues win a Super Cup than it is to grab a train and go to Lincoln City or York in midweek. That is a fact, Andy. Just as a captain on that day, you didn't yourself take a penalty when City won the 99 penalty shootout. But what were your emotions when you went up as captain at the Wembley
listen,
step?
I've said it many times. It's the proudest day of my football career. It really was. You know, a combination of a lot of sacrifices I made myself and the journey that we came through. You know, and yeah, it's a long time ago, but still, you know, fondly remembered. And it's just great there to see the night, because I know what it's like for players. You know, when as you grow older, you become a manager. You know, you forget sometimes the actual age of these players are, and they'll remember this, you know, for the rest of their careers.
Well, Pep Guardiola is a serial winner. He has another winner's medal around his neck, a 15th trophy for City. And you have to say, the joy when that final penalty was missed by Goodell told you how much tonight has meant. The Blues are the winners of the